Hello students, welcome to our first video of class 8 history, our past 3, chapter 5 when people rebel 1857 and after. We have already discussed East India Company's policies and their effect on different sections of society like Rajas, Nawabs, Queens, landlords, peasants, soldiers, tribals and the common masses were all affected by those policies. All of them rose in revolt against the British in 1857. The revolt of 1857 shook the British Empire to its foundation. Though it started as a military revolt, the causes were deeply rooted in the nature of the British rule in India. It drew its strength from the grave discontent which was a direct consequence of an oppressive alien rule in India. Causes of the revolt. Let us see the different causes of the revolt of 1857. Political causes. Erosion of Nawab's power. Power of the Nawabs and Rajas had been eroding consistently since the mid-18th century. The British residents had been stationed in the courts of many rulers. Freedom of the rulers had been curbed, their armed forces disbanded, and their revenues and territories taken away. Thus, they had lost their authority, income, as well as honor. This courtesy to the Mughal emperor. The company had been planning to bring the Mughal empire to an end. The name of the Mughal king was removed from the coins minted by the company. Lord Dalhousie announced in 1849 that the successor to the Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Jafar would have to abandon the historic Red Fort. Lord Dalhousie's successor, Lord Canning, decided in 1856 that Bahadur Shah Jafar would be the last Mughal king, and after his death, none of his descendants would be recognized as king. They would just be called prince. This wounded the sentiment of the Muslims. Lord Dalhousie refused to give pension to Nana Sahib, the adopted son of ex-Peshwa Baji Rao II. This was widely resented by the Hindus. Rani Lakshmi Bai requested the company to recognize her adopted son as the heir to the kingdom after the death of her husband. The company did not concede her request. In fact, Lord Dalhousie used this doctrine to confiscate titles and pensions of the heirless rulers that we have discussed in our previous chapters. Now let us talk about the social and religious causes of the revolt of 1857. Social and religious factors were important in causing uneasiness among the people. Some of the new rules made by the British government hurt the religious sensibilities and beliefs of the Indians. They played an important role in the already charged atmosphere. The British believed that the Indian society had to be reformed. Laws were passed to stop the practice of sati and to encourage remarriage of widows. Although these reforms were for the benefit of the Indians, but many Indians began to feel that the British were destroying their social custom and their traditional way of life. Fears of religious conversion. The British policies created a sense of fear among the Hindus and Muslims that their religion was in danger. Activities of the Christian missionaries led people to believe that they all would soon be converted to Christianity. This belief united people against the British Raj. The Christian missionaries had established a number of schools in British India. The Indians feared that the British objective was not so much the promotion of education or literature and sciences as to encourage people to become Christian. Now let us discuss about the economic causes of the revolt of 1857. Ruin of trade and handicrafts. The British deliberately destroyed Indian arts and crafts. Heavy duties on Indian silk and cotton textiles ruined these industries. On the other hand, British goods were imported into India at a nominal duty. The craftsmen left the towns and went to villages in search of livelihood. As a result, famous manufacturing towns of Dhaka, Murshidabad and Surat were completely deserted. The indigo trade was highly profitable to the Europeans and British planters. However, the conditions under which the peasants had to work were far from being human. This caused widespread resentment. The permanent settlement of Bengal made zamindars the absolute owners of their estates. They had the power to eject the cultivators for non-payment of dues. Bad monsoons were a disaster for the peasants. Unable to pay land revenue, they were compelled to borrow from the moneylenders. The drain of India's wealth by the British in various ways was also very much resented by the Indians. Now let us talk about the military causes of the revolt of 1857. Low salary and poor prospects of promotion. All the high ranks in the army were reserved only for the British. The native sepoys could not rise above the rank of Risaldar or Subedar. The maximum pay of a Subedar of the infantry was less than the minimum pay of a raw British recruit. The General Service Enlistment Act of 1856. In those days, crossing the seas was considered as anti-religion. It was believed that such persons could lose their religion and caste. This is why when in 1824 the sepoys were asked to go to Burma by the sea route to fight for the company, they refused to follow the order. They were severely punished. The company passed the General Service Enlistment Act in 1856, which made all new recruits liable for general service everywhere across the seas as well as in India. Now let us talk about the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. It was in such a highly charged atmosphere the British introduced the Enfield rifle. The cartridge had a greased paper cover whose end was to be bitten off before loading it into the rifle. The cartridges were reported to be greased with the tallow, that is fat of cows and pigs. Cow is sacred for the Hindus and the Muslims consider pig as unclean. The news about the greased cartridges spread like wildfire. So these were some of the causes of the revolt of 1857. Let's rewind what we have learnt. The company rule affected each and every section of the Indian society. The revolt of 1857 is also known as the First War of Indian Independence. The newly made Enfield rifle was the immediate cause of the revolt. Let us see what you have grasped today. Here are some questions for you. Your question number 1 is, what was the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857? Your options are A. Nawabs losing their power, B. Social reforms, C. Enfield rifles, D. Low wages of the sepoys. The correct answer is C. Enfield rifles. Your second question is, when was the General Enlistment Act passed? The options are A. 1849, B. 1856, C. 1857, or D. 1947. The correct answer is B. 1856. The third question is, which of the following statement is false? The options are A. Laws were passed to annex Indian kingdoms, B. Laws were passed to stop Sati Pratha, C. Laws were passed to promote widow remarriage, or D. Laws were passed to promote child marriage. And the correct answer is D. Laws were passed to promote child marriage. It's practice time now, and here is some home task for you. Your question number 1 is, what was the demand of Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi was refused by the British? Your second question is, what were the political causes of the revolt? And your third question is, what was the immediate cause of the revolt? In our next video, we'll discuss about the outbreak of the revolt. Till then, take care of yourself, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.